What's up, everybody? Can you believe this? Guess what time it is? Episode 2. I know. I said the exact same thing. Holy cow, you made it to episode 2. Unbelievable. I'd like to thank really consistency. And my girlfriend telling me to stay consistent. So, shout out for that. Guys, we got some big news. So yeah, we're episode 2 right now. We're rolling. We're making things happen. We're creating the greatest YouTube show, podcast, hybrid kind of concept ever to hit the business world. It's happening, and you're a part of it. So with that being said, I'd like to break this open with some breaking news. We've got a sponsor. That's right. Yeah! We have our first sponsor. You see this good-looking haircut? Yeah, that's brought to you by this week's sponsor, Quarantine Clips. Owned by Christine, my girlfriend. I'm just kidding. But look at that haircut, right? There's no sponsor, but that's a good-looking haircut. Cut in-house by my girlfriend. Not bad. So what that means is we don't actually have a sponsor, but one day we might. And also don't come to my house for a haircut. Stay away. Not that I don't like you. It's just weird, right? We'll get haircuts once this quarantine lifts. But I didn't have to shave my head, so I was really excited about that. Especially because I have to do these every week now. So, all right. No, but seriously, let's start off with something that I want to talk about, and that's you guys and gals that tuned in last week. Personally, I'm blown away. The support was unreal. You guys rock. My YouTube channel jumped up, I don't know, 40, 50 people. I've had a YouTube channel for YouTube came out in 2005, so 10 years. Probably somewhere around there, and it's taken me that long to get 700 followers. So I jumped 50. Let's carry the one. That's like a 40% lift, right? Thank you very, very much, seriously, for the crazy support, the comments that poured in, the suggestions. John Moran actually did some new logos for us, which I probably will unveil next week. That was pretty cool. So this is exactly what we're talking about. This is exactly what we're trying to accomplish. We're creating an MVP, and you right there jumped in and made this fun. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. It's been overwhelmingly awesome. And for all you new subscribers, welcome to the Minimal Viable Production with your host, me, Jesse Wolfe. For those of you that don't know me, I am a serial entrepreneur. I've had many failed startups, and I've had a few pretty good ones. And my favorite part of the startup world is pretty much the MVP phase, starting startups and creating really cool things that people want to buy and or make their lives better and or make their lives cooler. So, welcome to episode 2. If you're new, you're just getting into the ground floor. Another thing I'd like to bring up in breaking news that's actually real is your boy got a new coffee cup. Check this out. It even says, can you see that? The adventure begins with a little car, actually station wagon and a camper. So I thought this was wildly delicious and appropriate because the adventure does begin. It's beginning right now. It begins every time we want to start an MVP. So that's this week's coffee cup. Maybe that'll be a thing. Except I'm going to end up with a lot of coffee cups. We'll circle back on that. But this is this week's coffee cups. That's exciting. Other news on the MVP front. The microphone still not plugged in. I'm trying really hard to get this plugged in. So right now it's just a prop on the desk. But it is brand new. It does work, I believe. It just doesn't plug into my camera. And I don't know yet how to record it on the computer, match it up with what's recording on the camera. I really just need to upgrade my stuff. So, that's what MVPs are. We've got kind of a janky setup, but that's okay. We'll get there. A few more of these episodes and we'll have ourselves a new setup. and we'll do some learning and some education, and we'll figure it out. So bear with me on the mic quality. Didn't get too many complaints last week besides the amount of I had in there. We'll figure this out. It's exciting. Again, this is an MVP. You're watching this unfold. We've upgraded the coffee cup. We've got a little better lighting this week. The camera's still working. The battery's fully charged. We're off to the races. Let's get into this episode. We will be talking today about your stimulus check, the $1,200, and how we're going to use that to stimulate the economy. But first, I would think we should start every episode, every week off with 3 things happening in the startup business world that's cool, fascinating, and, kind of MVP worthy. I don't know what to call this segment. It's got 3 pieces. So, Trace media, Trace fun facts, 3 fun facts, 3 blind mice. I don't know. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below, okay? Let's name this segment. Maybe we should do 5, maybe we should do 1, but this week we're going to try 3, and let me know what you think. Starting off with the number 1, probably biggest thing I thought happened this week is Zoom. Whoa. Who has been following Zoom? Zoom is going bonkers, okay? So, according to my research, in December 2019, so we're not talking that long ago, right? We're rolling in a month 5. It's gonna be May. We know that meme. 5 months ago, Zoom had 10 million users, okay? 10 million. Hey, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Most people are happy with that. At the end of March, Zoom suddenly had 200 million users. What? 200 million users. Unbelievable. But let me do you one better, okay? So not like jumping from 10 million to 200 million was a feat enough. This month, we're in April right now, they're on pace to add another 100 million. So they're going to have 300 million users. Actually, they've already hit 300 million users as of this week. They jumped 100 million users in 3 weeks. Now remember, 5 months ago they had 10 million. This is bonkers. So, I would love to be a fly on the wall inside that place right now. I mean, that's just got to be excitement and chaos and pandemonium and a lot of coffee, I'm sure, out of cool coffee mugs. Guys, that's nuts. You're talking somebody that, is in the process of building a company, and then all of a sudden they get inundated. Now, granted, this is a freak event with the COVID-19 issues, but wow, unreal, right? Like, just crazy. So, congrats to Zoom on that. Here's what's even more fascinating. They have seen a 1,900% increase in weekend calls. So, people around the world being forced to stay home are using Zoom now for an array of things. It's no longer just for boardroom meetings abroad, right? They're using it for family time. I've been guilty. I've actually used it for family and friends. It's been fun. So this is what's unique, right? Let's talk MVP about this subject real quick. 10 million users 5 months ago, 300 million users as of today, and a 1,900% lift in weekend users. What new products, what new offerings, what new services are going to stem out of Zoom? You're already seeing some kind of stuff. Like I saw somewhere, I read an article where a person is trying to basically create a platform for small-time musicians to create Zoom concerts, and you pay $3 or $4 to get in. Genius, right? So now a small person, an up-and-coming artist can fund themselves doing these Zoom concerts across the country. Pretty dang cool, and you're in that concert in essence. So very excited to see what's going to come out of this unfortunate, time. But excited to see the innovation that comes out of this and how, in essence, it'll better our world. But where there is success, somebody's always jealous. And who be jelly this week? Try to say like Wendy Williams or something, right? Jelly alert. Should we keep? I kind of like that. Should we keep jelly alert? Maybe we'll get like a little emoji or something that pops up like jelly alert. I don't know. You guys tell me. But who's jealous? None other than Mark Zuckerberg in Palo Alto at Facebook. And sure enough, he wasn't going to let Zoom have all the success. Absolutely not. So how do you know your MVP is working? How do you know your startup's doing big things? When bigger companies try to rip you off, and here comes Zucks trucking along, and he is, where am I at here? He's launching Messenger's Room. Not a huge fan of Messengers myself. It's all right. But he's convinced that Messenger's Room will be Facebook's answer to Zoom. Now, this is fascinating because Facebook just doesn't jump into rings, blindly. I mean, when they go in with a pretty good plan. But this is an MVP. So I would love to know how long in the back end they've been working on this, right? Is this something they just put out? Is this something they've been working on for the last year or two, like keeping an eye on Zoom and these other, platforms like Zoom? Or did they crank this out within a couple months to compete with Zoom? That's a great question. I don't know if we'll ever fully know, and maybe they'll do an interview and tell us. Oh, we lost our... Oh, there we go. I forgot to keep the player on. Whatever, we might lose that. So, we don't really know what stage Messenger Rooms is in right now, but let's talk about, is it MVP, is it not MVP? This could be something they've been working on. Maybe it's something they just cranked out. Fascinating. Let's keep an eye on that. Maybe we'll create an alert, like this is a binocular alert. I don't know. We'll come back to that too. But let's keep an eye on that. Let's keep an alert on that to see what transpires. Maybe we'll follow back up with that. But either way, it's exciting. This is very much like Snapchat versus Instagram, right? Snapchat versus Instagram versus Facebook. Snapchat refused to sell. Facebook just upped Instagram like crazy. So exciting stuff to say the least. And I think Zoom has their hands full because not only are they trying to handle now 300 million users and growing, but also now fighting off Facebook. So, oh buddy, there better be maybe some stronger coffee in that boardroom. Okay, moving on. With the end of Facebook conversation there, the lesson we should take away from that whole Facebook versus Zoom now is you have to always be innovating, right? We cannot let our guard down just because we've hit success. So where Zoom cannot be celebrating that they have 300 users, or 300 million users rather. Whoa, 300 million. I'm sorry, Zoom. I'm so sorry for that. 300 million users, there's no time to celebrate. Now they've got Facebook on their tail. So they've got to be innovating. They've got to be ahead of it. Zoom is the pioneer. Zoom is the one that's originally created this technology. You always have to be 1, 2, 3, 4 steps ahead of your competition at all times. And this is a great example why. Here comes Facebook, who created social media, on your tail. They very easily could run you over. So if you rest on your laurels, you're gone. Now is not a time for that, Zoom. Let that be a big lesson that we keep as we talk about MVPs and we create new products. Going on, we'll leave on that note with, what are you going to try? Are you using Zoom? And if you're using Zoom, what are you using it for? Tell me, shoot me a comment below, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. I'm curious to see. Are you using it for the weekends? Are you guys getting on there playing a little bingo? Are you using it for boardroom use only? You're keeping it professional. You're wearing the suits. You're wearing the ties, but gym shorts. Those are the questions I'm curious about. And then the second question I want you guys to help me out with, are you going to try Facebook Messenger? Are you going to give it a shot? I think I will pop the hood. I think I'll take a gander. I think I'll walk around and kick the tires and see what's going on. I think Zoom works really well. There's other competitors out there already, like Google Hangouts. That's really great. I love Google and what they've done with Hangouts. So very fascinating to see Zucks getting in the mix and being so aggressive about it right now. Also, I'd like to know, my ums are down drastically this week, like the stock market. Where the ums are good, the stock market's not. But a win. I'm being very focused on the ums. Okay. And the third thing we'll talk about to finish off the 3 things that are awesome this week, the NFL draft. Who watched it? Raise your hand. I did. I wasn't missing this. I love the draft. I'm a huge football person, especially college. Go Knights, as most of you guys know. Dang, there's another. The NFL draft is wild. I had no idea what to expect. I had no idea how they were going to set this up. You guys want to talk MVP? That was an MVP. And I would like to give a slow clap to everybody at the NFL Network. I think it was through CBS, ESPN, that made that thing go off without a hitch. So, the newspapers were talking and the articles online about how there were 600 camera feeds, wild, that were across, all the players' homes, the war rooms of the coaches' homes, which are even crazier, and then, of course, the ESPN people. Wild. They were so stressed about never having done something of this magnitude, the amount of issues they could have, the connectivity issues, etc., etc. It went off pretty smooth, except for the Dallas Cowboys' first-round recruit, whose girlfriend took her phone, or took his phone? Yeah. And he got called out on national TV for looking a little sketch. We're going to let that slide. That's not our problem, right? That's not our problem. Y'all deal with that on your own time. We're all about this MVP. So the NFL, 4 months ago, was planning on having the NFL draft big time in Las Vegas. And it was going to be sick. They were going to have like a boat that took you out to the Bellagio fountain, whatever that is. I've never been to Vegas. It's on the bucket list. But that's pretty cool. It was going to be dope. It was going to be lights, cameras, fancy. I mean, the biggest NFL draft they had to date. And that baby got just derailed like the rest of the world. So, you can't not have a draft. They proceeded, again, flawless. In fact, it was so successful, they drew a record 15.6 million viewers across ESPN, ABC, and the NFL Network and ESPN, which was in total a 37% increase over last year's draft. So not only did you have to make a massive pivot, in essence create a whole new platform, right? So they didn't have a choice. They couldn't perfect this thing. They worked with what they had. They used the resources with what they knew and within their limitations, and they made it happen. And it worked. It got the job done. In fact, I'm going to throw it out there and say, what if this changes future drafts? What if, now I'm not gonna go completely crazy and say they're going to cancel the in-person stuff, but I think they're going to use what they learned today to do more in-home stuff for like the lower ranked draft picks, which I love. I would love to see more of the 3rd and 4th round guys, 5th round, 10th round, 30th round, whatever sport we're watching, get their limelight, right? Get their moment to shine. I mean, come on. These guys and gals work hard when they get drafted. Let's see it. So cool. See, you have 600 players. We know you're capable of streaming live. I also thought it was pretty cool. You got to see the, there's that again. You got to see the coaches' homes. The guy that is the head coach for the Arizona NFL team, dude, that's a sick house. Shout out your house. Can I come over? We'll bring the show. Let's just give me the invite. Hit me up on the phone. I'll answer. Sick house, bro. Okay, that's it, baby. That's the 3 cool things I have this week happening in the news. There's a bunch more. Those are 3 I picked. Let me know if you like those. Let me know if we should do 5. Let me know if we should do 10. Maybe we do none. We're going to mold this baby as we go. But now it's time that we get into the meat and potatoes. Why we're here. Let's talk $1,200 stimulus check. The incredible news is if you're an entrepreneur right now, you got your first investor, baby. Congratulations. I wish I had a bottle of champagne to pop with you. You have an investor. You have a prestigious investor, actually. Not just some angel. Donald J. Trump just invested in your startup. How freaking cool is that? I would probably put that on my LinkedIn bio if I started my company with $1,200 from the government. Donald J. Trump and the rest of our government pulled off the feat of giving $1,200 to most Americans. I would call it pretty quickly. That's $1,200. Now, let me preface this conversation with, if you are furloughed and need the money, don't use your $1,200 to start a business. We will figure out another way to do this. This is for everyone else that got a stimulus check and it's expected to stimulate the economy, i.e. go and spend it. So you got some options. You can go buy a dope pair of Gucci loafers. I'll kind of judge you, but then I secretly also want a pair. I don't think they make them for fat guys though. So it's an easy choice for me. Or you can take your money and you can create something really cool like a startup. Now, how do we do this? So the idea behind MVP is simple. You're going to first stop and crush that like button to help your boy in the YouTube algorithm. I would greatly appreciate that. And also, if you're not subscribed, oh man, I would just give you an air high five right now if you'd hit that subscription button. I have to plug it, guys, and it's going to be shameless. You just got to do it for me, please. I'm begging you. I'll do it back for you. Just let me know what you need. But let's do that. Now we can get back to the televised and prompted script. The goal here is to create an MVP. We have $1,200, so now we have money that just came in that we weren't expecting. So what do we do with that? Well, the idea is you want to build something fast, quick, and cost-effective to test your idea. It does not matter if it's a physical product or it's a service. The idea is fast, quick, testing. Fast, quick, testing. Okay? So the thing about the whole MVP concept is if you go 3 months and you get one MVP made, one product made, one service figured out, and you test it at the end of 3 months, how many more micro tests could you have done along the way? What hung you up, right? Time is sometimes more valuable than money itself. And that's where we're getting hung up here. So think about this. If we had a month, and in a month you were able to get to the end of this, and you perfected it, and you got hung up on packaging and branding, or it's got to be perfect, and you were able to get one test done, at the end of that test, you're going to have a set of learnings, right? You're going to have what went right, what went wrong, and by test, what that means is you build something. Again, let's use our glasses. We want to make blue blockers, right? So we spend a month, we design them, we put our name on the side, we pick out the lenses, we put it in a cool box. We have a little wipe that goes with them. We worry about all the Facebook and social media stuff. And then we put them out, and the public immediately goes, again, these aren't made for fat heads, or, I wish they were polarized. And you're going to get torn apart pretty quick about an array of different things. There's going to be a lot of people that like them, but there's going to be a lot of people that are going to tell you, issues you have. Now imagine if we put out a quicker pair, right? We didn't worry about the branding necessarily. We didn't worry about the packaging. And we just put it in a pretty basic brown cardboard box with a paper label. And we said, focus on the glasses, folks. What's the feedback you got for me? I might be able to test this 2 times. So by test, I mean, I go out, I sell 10 pairs to my friends, family, neighbors, online, whatever, Facebook Marketplace, Instagram. I get people to give me feedback right away. I might be able to do that 3 times in that month. So the first time I send out a pair of glasses, I send them out to my 10 customers. I go hit those 10 customers up and I say, what do you like? What don't you like? Be honest with me. They tell me. I go back quickly. I make changes, right? And I update what they said that I agree with or I think needs changed. This hinge was kind of flimsy, whatever. I go back and then the next 10 I sell, I said, hey, updated. We fixed the hinge, new lenses, whatever. They try those and they go, these are even better. How about you do this? What if they were in red, blue, and orange? Okay, now version 3, I offer red, blue, and orange, plus the hinge is fixed, plus the lenses are fixed. So by the end of my month, my product is way further ahead than your product, more than likely. So the problem is we live in our heads. And we get so entrapped with, I can't be embarrassed. I don't want to put out something that, is going to embarrass me or I'm going to be, ashamed of. And we're afraid of that failure. And you cannot be afraid of criticism, of people telling you what's wrong with the product. They're not trying to hurt you. I mean, some might be out of jealousy. Some might come at you and say, this is a dumb product. In fact, sidebar, I had a friend today that has a company doing very well, and she was on Shark Tank, and she gets an email that said, guy's name was Jim, we'll censor the second half, but he goes, I don't know why you would invent a product like this. This is literally the dumbest thing I've ever seen, and only complete morons would buy something like this. Thanks, Jim. So this man took time out of his day and was so irate by whatever she was creating to write her this email and send it to her. Don't let that bother you. That guy's got bigger issues in life, and unfortunately, you were today's punching bag. Move on. I used to take stuff like that personal all the time. Then I learned it's not that big of a deal. Now, if there's an issue, handle it. If Jim says, your glasses suck and they stabbed me in the eye, okay, let's take, what happened here? What failed, right? What caused the glasses to stab you in the eye? But if you're just getting hate mail, hate because they hate on you for your success, smile, don't even acknowledge them, and move along, right? The adventure begins, and laugh it off. Ha 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 ha. You're going to want to frame that, print it out, put it on your wall, and use it as motivation. But don't take it personal. If you're going to be an entrepreneur, you got to have thick skin. My favorite thing is when somebody tells me what's wrong with my products. Because guess what? They are only helping my business and my idea grow faster. I don't need yes men or women. I don't need people, high-fiving me and telling me I'm the greatest thing on earth. I want to earn that. And that's what our parents did growing up to some degree, right? I always joke that my mom, I could pick up a rock in the yard and say, look, I created this. I'm going to start a business. And she'd be like, you're the best. You're the best kid that's ever been on the planet, And that's what moms do. That's what dads do. That's what they're there for, And I've trained my entire family to go, listen, support me. I love it. I need it. But also I need you to be real with me. If I'm bringing out something that you think is pretty dumb, I would like to hear it from you first, right? Because that's your support system. So don't be afraid of failing. And testing is part of the process. If you don't think Facebook is going to get some crazy feedback for this messenger app, messenger rooms, they're going to. In fact, they prompt you all the time to go, hey, what do you think of this? Would you use it? What do you like? What don't you like? There's a lot of apps we use that tell us, hey, how is this working? Would you take a minute to tell us how it's going? They want the feedback because they want the business to grow and evolve. And that's what we're doing here with your $1,200 stimulus check. So we're going after what they call validated learning, which is learning that we know is true. That's the goal at the end of this. When we get through the MVP process, we want a finished product. We want these glasses to go, this is version 4 with validated learning. Learning is one thing, but the learning that we went through, we know is factual. It's validated. We know that people had an issue with the lenses. We know people had an issue with this hinge. We know that people wanted other colors. That is gold in the MVP process. That is the whole framework to how MVP works. You do it fast, you do it cheap, you do it quick, and you fail and you fall, and you make those pivots and you make those adjustments and you make those tweaks to try to figure out what the customer wants. And the customer will tell you as long as you don't get defensive and shut it down. Think about when you get in a fight. If you snap back at somebody that you just asked, what am I doing wrong? Do you think they're going to tell you what you're doing wrong in the future? No, they're just going to avoid you. That's just psychology. Right? Well, there's a shocker, another technical difficulty. The camera just stopped recording. So, commercial break. Welcome back to Minimal Viable Product and Production with your host, Jesse Wolfe. We are right in the middle of talking about MVPs and how to create an MVP with your $1,200 stimulus check. We're talking about validated learning. We're talking about failing fast, failing often, with the whole concept of you have to answer the ultimate question. Is the product I'm trying to create or the service good and do people want it or do they not want it? And that's why you do an MVP. God forbid you had $1 million and you just went for it and you spend all this money creating the next great widget without any type of MVP or validation or customer traction, and then you launch it to the market and nobody buys it. And unfortunately, that happens often. And maybe we'll do a whole show about that. Let me know if you want to hear about companies that did not test with MVPs or did really elaborate too big of MVPs instead of relying on the laurels of the power of broke, right? Which is being very budget conscious, doing these smaller tests, gaining traction and growing from there. It's critical because you get feedback and you understand what works. Guys, I'm going to say it. Sometimes there's product out there that we think is the greatest thing on earth, but there's really no market for it. Or nobody wants it, or it's before its time, or it's after its time. That's the reality of business. But I have good news for you. That's not the end of the road. That just means you need to pivot into something else that's working, or the market's emerging, or there's new opportunity. That happens every single day in business. Maybe we'll do a whole segment on that too. It's cool. Pivoting is awesome. Don't be afraid of it. Don't be ashamed of it. Embrace it. Go where the market is. Go where the opportunity is. Don't try to push something that's never going to work. Again, that happens all the time, and it breaks my freaking heart. Tear. Okay. So I want to use a couple examples of how one would validate a product quickly. Let's start with a food company. And this is great because I actually got the chance to read someone's MVP. They don't even realize they're posting an MVP, but I just happened to pick up on this. If you subscribe to The Hustle, which I do, great newsletter, there's another paid version of it called Trends. And it's a group on Facebook that it's just a bunch of entrepreneurs, if you will. This came through on there. So the lady's name is Kristen Shaw. So Kristen Shaw wrote on the Trends group this week that she started a cookie company. And this is really cool because cookies are very accessible, right? We have computers. You can get on YouTube. You can get on Pinterest. You can learn to bake cookies if you've never baked a cookie in your life before in an evening. Doesn't mean they're going to be the best cookies, but you can learn. You could spend a couple weeks for free basically learning how to bake excellent cookies and hone in on one specialty cookie, let's say a delicious chocolate chip cookie, and become an expert at that chocolate chip cookie and then sell it. So this is what Kristen did. So Kristen literally started a cookie company 10 days ago. She spent about $150 starting the company. She already took in 56 orders, and she's grossed $2,800 in 10 days. What? Like, yo, my girl Kristen, I don't know who you are, but maybe you'll watch this, maybe you won't. If you do, congrats. That is just taking opportunity and running with it. So now her thing is, we're going to move on to phase 2, and she's going to try to grow from 50 orders a week. I think her goal is 200 orders a week. And then she's going to quit her job and try to do this direct-to-consumer, local chocolate chip, cookie company. This is happening in the cookie space, ironically enough, a lot right now. A lot of people are furloughed. She was furloughed, for example, out of a job, needed to create an income. Bravo. And what I love about it is, like food especially, a lot of farmers market items, candle companies, they're very accessible. This is stuff you can make in your house with very little startup cash. So again, let's say she got $1,200. She goes on YouTube, she spends a day or two learning how to bake cookies. Then she's going over to the grocery store, let's say Publix, shout out Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. Not sponsored, but I wouldn't mind a pub sub. So if you want to sponsor me, we can talk. Goes to Publix, buys $150 worth of ingredients, comes back, makes 10 batches of chocolate chip cookies, let's say. And she's trying them on her friends and her family, and she's asking them, what do you like about this? Too many chocolate chips, too salty, too thick. I want it more crispy. You're going to start hearing consensus. Or, if you figure out, I want to do a cookie company where every cookie has, some kind of like crazy gooey center. That's her niche, right? That's what makes her different than the competition. Then she needs to be trying that on people and getting the feedback. That's the point of an MVP. So that's the simplest way to explain it. She might have $200 into the actual testing of the product. baking cookies and giving them to people, for the feedback. But she's going to dial it in pretty quick, within days. Then she's going to go online, maybe Amazon or like some packaging company. She's going to buy really cool bags or zip seal bags, whatever, maybe the press to seal the cookie shut. She's going to buy packaging supplies, shipping paper, maybe even like a professional, laser printer shipping label maker. And then sign up for a Shopify, $35 a month. She's going to get on Canva. Again, Canva can be free, or there's a pro version. So let's say she's got another $100 in e-com stuff, and she's good to go. She buys a Shopify template. That's another $50. She's under $500 before she makes her first batch of cookies, but the company's ready to rock and roll to some degree. Then, when she's ready, she gets on, she posts her flavors for the week, the orders start rolling in, she takes the remaining $700, goes and buys the ingredients, makes the cookies, packs them in a box, ships them the heck out to whatever home across America that is so desperately waiting for these delicious cookies. They get to enjoy them, and you get to cash in your money from PayPal, and now you got a business. You just turned your $1,200 into $4,000, $5,000. Depends on how many orders you get. That is the simplest way to explain how to use $1,200 stimulus check to turn a business into an idea. You can do this model with candles. Candles are super hot, growing like crazy. You want to start a sticker company? Same concept. You want to start a t-shirt company? Same concept, right? Make a couple, give them out to people, see what they like, tweak them, build a Shopify, put them up on Facebook, put them up on Instagram, give them to a few influencers, pay to ship them to the influencers, and you're off to the races. $1,200 is going to go a long way if you just watch the budget and you think outside the box. You could start a lot of e-com companies, basic e-commerce companies doing something like this. Again, Shopify, wicked cheap. Instagram, free. Facebook, free. You don't need to run ads right away. Just send them to a couple influencers. 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 followers, 5,000, 3,000, like doesn't matter. Send them to people in your field and let them review it. Maybe offer them, say, if they need something. A lot of people, especially under like 20,000 followers, they just like free stuff. They're not getting big deals yet. Send them a free t-shirt. Send them a box of cookies. They just like getting free stuff. Who doesn't? They're going to talk about it. And then if they drive a ton of traffic to your site, give them a kickback. Make them loyal to you, okay? So that is what I'll call the low-lying fruit version, right? The one that's easy to pick right there. Let's get a little more complicated. So there's another great product that I think is fantastic. It's called the Gravity Blanket. If you're not familiar with the Gravity Blanket, it's literally a weighted blanket. They range anywhere from 10 pounds, I think, up to like 30 pounds. And the idea is, the science behind it is, these blankets, they sit on top of you and they make you feel more comfortable. And psychologically, they reduce your anxiety and I guess you sleep like a baby. I want one. I just haven't bought one. So, hey, Gravity Blanket, if you want to send me one, I'll take it and I'll put you on my social media. See? I won't even charge you. Just send me a blanket. If anyone knows anyone at Gravity Blanket, let's see if we can get that to happen. But it's cool. So let's walk through, and again, I know the backside of Gravity Blanket because of a podcast I listen to called My First Millions. Again, I'll plug that great podcast. If you guys like business startup stories, My First Millions is awesome. Listen to how this guy founded Gravity Blanket. Again, super simple. He was doing research on, basically trying to find a competitor to MyPillow. Was working with sleep scientists, overheard this lady talk about how if you sleep with, I think it's 10% of your body weight, it reduces anxiety. He's like, wait, what? She's like, yeah. He goes, no way. She goes, yeah, wait. He goes, I gotta go, ran home, and started doing a prototype for the Gravity Blanket. These are really nice blankets, and they're made with big pellets inside that, big plastic pellets that are, I guess, filled with, something, maybe metal or sand, I'm not sure. But that's what gives it the weight. So they're a bunch of like little beads now, like really small beads, but overall the whole thing weighs, whatever it's supposed to at the end of the day. He simply went, bought a blanket, gutted the blanket open, shoved some, I forget what he said, but some kind of big pellet inside. It wasn't the prettiest thing. He even said it was really lumpy and kind of off, but it got the concept done. So he built this blanket, put it on, literally in one day. Spent, I think he said like $110 buying the blanket, buying the pellets or whatever he used for it, teaching himself how to sew it back up, really botched together, goes home, slams it on himself, and he said he blacked out and hadn't slept that good in his entire life. And he knew when he woke up, he was like, oh my God, this is something huge. So now, this guy, right, has a prototype. He's got an MVP. So what is he doing with it? He's taking it to his friends. He made a few more blankets, went back to his friends and said, go home, sleep with this. They did that. So now he's got a couple $100 in this blanket. Okay, great. They come back and they said, oh my God, this is amazing, I need one. Can you make one heavier for me? Can you make one lighter for me? You know, whatever. Now, he's got traction. He knows other people like this. It works for them. It's helping them sleep better. He's onto something. Now he goes to a manufacturer. This is why an MVP is so powerful. You move quick. You made any tweaks and edits you need. You roughed it out. And you came to the conclusion that, do people want this product? Yes or no? His answer was yes. Great. We're moving on to the next phase. You're taking whatever revisions you made along the way. Let's say there was 3 versions of this blanket. You're taking version 3 right to a manufacturer in China or the States or Mexico or Taiwan, wherever you're going to produce this. You're going to literally fold it up and hand it to them and say, this is my proven prototype. I need this done, but it's got to look way better. I want this material, but here's the concept. You don't have to explain anything. You don't have to go to them and ask them to make you a prototype and then them charge you $10,000, $20,000 for this type of stuff. You made the prototype. Their job now is to bring it to life, right? Manufacture it, make it real. Sometimes you'll need a manufacturer. Other times you will just become the manufacturer. In this case, he went to a manufacturer, handed them that. So he took months of work off the table. When you ask a manufacturer to prototype something for you, you're literally asking for 6 months, 8 months, a year's worth of effort, you know, from them. So by you bringing a working prototype that maybe you knocked out in a month, you just shaved off 6 months of your launch. Now they can spend a few weeks, maybe a month dialing it in, giving you a few versions of what they're capable of doing. And now there's version 5, and you're ready to go to market. And how do you fund that? There's a bunch of different ways. There's purchase order financing, there's factoring, there's venture capital, there's angels, there's family money, and then there's selling them hand by hand, the ones you're prototyping right now, until you have enough money to make your first big order. We could talk about how to fund stage 2 in another video. Let me know if you're interested in that. But that's the gist of it. It doesn't take rocket science to get this done, guys. Your goal is to move fast, move quick, fail often, figure out if people want your product or don't want your product. It's that simple, guys. It really is. I vote use your $1,200 for this. That's your $1,200. It's your prerogative. That's our show. What do you think? Or how are we doing here? So thank you so much for tuning in again for episode 2. I love you guys. The ultimate goal here is we're just gonna find out what sticks, right? $1,200. Let's see if we can create a product that sticks. Let's see if we can get some traction. What do you think? You think I'm on topic? You think this makes sense? Let me know in the comment section below. I love you guys very much. I really do, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for your support. If anybody knows how to hook up this microphone to a Sony camera, let me know. Let me know anything else you can think of that you want to hear more about, you don't want to hear more about. Compliment me on how many ums I restricted from using today. And I look forward to seeing you on episode 3 next week. You guys have a good night. I love you so much. Bye-bye.